my advanced financial modeling personal project. Okay, so for my personal project, I ended up doing a financial goal tracker, which just tracks all your goals and it just makes it super easy for somebody that wasn't experienced to be able to keep track of everything and just be able to make sure that they are good to go. So for this, I ended up doing quite a few things. I started off with a Jupyter notebook and it worked to start off with, and then it kind of just wasn't the best platform to use just for the fact that it was very obscure and it just wasn't super good. It also was hard to create a dashboard, and with me being newer to Python, it just didn't give the full effect that I really wanted it to. And so I kind of had to switch over to Python. So from then I created the CLI only, and it kind of just through chat, and it gave me just some different things like SQLite and pandas and date time, and it gave me everything to do, like to add the goal and everything. So if I were to push play, I could choose 1 through 5, so I could add my goal on this. And then if I wanted to just, let's say I wanted to buy a condo, I could do that. And then I could take the target amount. So let's just say it's $150,000. And then the year, so 2020, 12, and then 13. And then it would enter your choice. So I could also view the goals that I've created. So like that, so you can see I've bought a fish, a bike, and a condo, and that's how much I need to save. And that's the target amount. Now it wasn't exactly all that I really wanted. Then you can also add your contribution. You can enter your ID goal. So like you can say 5, which was buy a bike, and I could also add $100 to that. And then I could, let's just say it's May 2nd, since it's today. And then I could also just view all the contributions as well. And as you can tell that it went from 200 to 100. So, and I can just exit, which that was great. And it definitely was a good starting point. But then I realized I needed to do a little bit more. So within that, I ended up going to a dashboard. Now the dashboard was really hard to create just for the fact that it didn't want to always work. So it was Dash and Plotly, Pandas, and SQLite 3 again. And it was I used SQL, I used the Dash, and it was good, but as you can tell, this is what it came up with on the first point. And it was good, but there was just no results found. And so like even if you were to enter a start and an end date, like let's just say it's 03 20 2020, and then the end date was 05 02 2025, I could export it, and there was a lot of callback errors, and it just never gave the graphs that I needed. And it originally was working, and where you could select the goals, but it just wasn't to the extent I wanted it, and it just wasn't the greatest application. Um, it definitely needed some work for sure. And so, but I originally had like a monthly graph. I had just some different graphs that showed you charts and everything like that. So it was all right, but it definitely um was interesting because it did start working and then it didn't work after that. I don't know why, but it it just did. So then we went to the financial goal CLI, which just to cover it all. And then I figured out that this one was what I ended up going with to begin with at the end of it all. So this one also has Dash, Pandas, Plotly, Express, SQLite, but this one also has the API key that you can input yourself, and it's just going to give it in a more secure way, and it looks better, it looks put together, it looks accessible, a lot more accessible than what it originally was. So this one just has the layout, the division, the callback, um, and then just to fetch all this data that it's running through this as well. so they are just running back in sync with each other, which is actually really cool for the fact that I had two different things that can connect it to each other. So then if I were to run this one, it's just gonna do this. And this one gives you the goal name. So if I wanted to need, let's say I wanted to have a financial fund. Let's say the amount needed was 10,000. The current amount saved was 500. And then I could also paste my API key, which I use one from chat to help me do goals. But this is also optional. So like if I were to run this right by itself, you could see that the financial fund also is there, the goal, the completion percent, and it's just very, very, very easy. So let's say I wanted to do a different one, and let's just say I wanted a house. So we can make the goal name a house. We can make it 3,500,000. And then we could say that the current amount saved is $2,000. I can paste my API key, which I already have, so I just pasted that and I could add the goal, which shows the house and the current versus needed amount. And this just shows the goal completion percent, the house. I did have trouble with the API key. Sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. I don't know, I could not explain why, but it's definitely very tricky. So like for another one, let's just say I wanted to get a bike again. And let's say we needed 300. Well, actually, let's do like 375. And then the current amount saved is $20. You could add the goal, and there you go. So both of these are very good applications. If I really had a little bit more time, I definitely would add more graphs to it, and I would definitely add more just information in general. I would definitely want to be able to like input the goal a little bit more like this one. That's a CLI where I could add the contribution, which is something I still need to work on that, but it's definitely been good. But I definitely used a lot of chat. That's part of my Python that I used, but like I used this, I used a lot of transferring Python code, and then it's a lot. I also had trouble because I wanted to use Power BI for the dashboard, but I did have trouble implementing it into from Python into Power BI. So that's definitely something I want to research a little bit more of for any upcoming projects I'll have. But I mean, starting off, it's decently good. I definitely want to be able to implement a little bit more, but as you can tell, like there's just like chat started to give me a lot of dashboards, which was really, really nice. And although chat is definitely chat liked to give a dashboard that was not as useful, which was very interesting. I believe it was this dashboard. But there's one dashboard it just didn't want to work on, and so it was definitely interesting. Like it gave me stuff like Python separated goal dashboard, and it just gave a lot of random inputs, which was very interesting because I haven't seen those before, and I didn't know that that was a thing. So I've definitely learned a lot though with this, and I'm really excited to see what there's yet to come. The financial goals though are very, very easy, but I want to like definitely be able to enhance it a lot more in like my upcoming stages. It gave me a very good insight though because it was really fun like, getting to add the goals and getting to add the contributions and viewing the contributions. Like I definitely see why this was done. But yeah, it just shows the amount, the ID, which originally to start off with the ID, it had me with this Jupyter Notebook, it had me take the ID and I have to enter in the ID, and then the ID would make, like, I would have to remember which one was which ID. So I'm really glad that it definitely was a process, and I definitely could tell that the process was getting better and better the more I worked on it, which was really, really cool to see. But I cannot wait to see what's yet to come. And thank you. That is my financial goal tracker.